I've waited years to feel like a Patriots quarterback was finally being surrounded with real purpose instead of patchwork answers. Now Drake Maye has A.J. Brown, and that pairing could bring something back to Foxborough that has been painfully absent. An offense capable of frightening a defense before the ball is even snapped. But the excitement around 2026 doesn't end with that connection. There's an affordable chance to strengthen the tight end room, a young lineman ready to make a major leap, and a linebacker who survived every cut until he earned his place. If you feel this shift too, hit the like button and experience these 4 stories with me. For years, every conversation about New England's offense started with the same frustration. How far could Drake Maye truly go without a receiver who could change the way a defense lines up? The arrival of A.J. Brown ends that conversation and opens a far more exciting one. This isn't just about placing a superstar beside the quarterback. It's about bringing back a part of Brown's game that may not have been used to its full potential in Philadelphia. ESPN's Bill Barnwell agreed with Tom Brady's belief that Maye could be a better fit for Brown than Jalen Hurts was with the Eagles. The explanation comes down to a route that looks simple but can punish an entire defense. Routes breaking inside across the middle of the field. During Brown's 3 seasons in Tennessee, he recorded more than 1,000 receiving yards on play-action throws between the numbers. According to Barnwell, that was over 300 more than any other receiver during that span. That really hits me because nobody is asking an accomplished veteran to reinvent himself. The Patriots could be giving Brown a path back to the area where he was once absolutely devastating. Hurts didn't attack digs and other in-breaking routes very often. Maye, meanwhile, led the NFL last season in play-action passes over the middle. It almost feels like 2 pieces that have spent years waiting to finally make the same connection. Picture what that does to the linebackers. The defense sees the run action, hesitates for a split second, and Brown is already breaking into the space behind them. Maye has the arm, the confidence, and the touch to layer that football in before the safety can close. If the defense drops back to protect that area, the running game gets lighter boxes. If it crowds the line, Brown gets room to attack the exact part of the field where he built his reputation. There's also an emotional side to this that's impossible to ignore. Brown isn't coming to Foxborough to carry a broken offense all by himself. He's joining a unit that already has a rising quarterback and a system that fits his best traits. That changes the expectation. For the first time in a long time, the conversation isn't about hiding the limitations around the quarterback. It's about forcing the rest of the AFC to come up with an answer. The chemistry still has to appear on the field through timing, protection, and execution, but the foundation is there, backed by Brown's history and Maye's tendencies. If this connection develops the way it looks like it can, New England won't have simply acquired a #1 receiver. The Patriots will have given their young quarterback a weapon who speaks the same offensive language. The excitement surrounding A.J. Brown is real, but it doesn't erase a painfully obvious hole on this roster. Julian Hill's season-ending injury left Hunter Henry and rookie Eli Raradin carrying almost the entire tight end room. For an offense trying to grow around Drake Maye, accepting that vulnerability without searching for help would mean placing far too much trust in luck. That's why Kmet has created so much interest among Patriots fans. The Bears' tight end is 27 years old, experienced, and capable of contributing immediately without getting in the way of Raradin's development. Chicago could expand Colston Loveland's role in 2026, which has fueled the possibility that Kmet might become available. Then came a projection that was hard to dismiss. Fansided's Winston Wilcox suggested that Carolina could acquire him for a 2027 6th-round pick. That proposal doesn't involve New England, and it doesn't guarantee Chicago would accept that exact price. It still gives us a fascinating reference point. If Kmet's market value is anywhere near that range, how could the Patriots not make the call? Giving up a future 6th-round pick for an established tight end would bring very little risk compared with the immediate need, and even more importantly, the uncertainty waiting beyond this season. Henry is entering the final year of his contract. Given his age, he may not return in 2027, and retirement could also become a possibility. Raradin may grow into a larger role, but asking a rookie to become the unquestioned successor so quickly would put too much weight on a projection. Kmet could provide a bridge. He could help right now, share the workload with Henry, and potentially become Maye's security blanket for years to come. Michael Mayer is intriguing too, especially because of his previous connection to Josh McDaniels, but he would probably cost more, and Las Vegas may have no interest in moving him. Kmet sits in a valuable middle ground. Proven production, a favorable age, and a potentially manageable price. After finally landing a dominant weapon for Maye, New England can't treat depth like a minor detail. A season can change fast when an entire position depends on 2 players, and one of them is still learning the NFL. Kmet doesn't need to be presented as a savior. He should be viewed as protection against a problem everyone can already see coming. If the price is truly that affordable, failing to explore the opportunity would hurt much more than making the call. Some bad performances fade during the off-season. Others stay with us, replayed again and again, as if one painful night could define an entire player. Jared Wilson ended 2025 carrying that exact weight. His Super Bowl performance was disappointing, and the 49.9 season grade he received from Pro Football Focus became easy ammunition for anyone who had already decided the young lineman wasn't ready. I'm not buying that rush judgment. ESPN's Ben Solak selected Wilson as the Patriots player most likely to break out in 2026. This wasn't some empty bet on youth. Solak highlighted the combination of quickness, balance, and play speed that modern centers need to become active pieces in the running game. He also believes Wilson will face fewer one-on-one matchups against power rushers than he did last year. That could remove some of the situations that exposed his weaknesses the most. The change that really boosts my confidence is much simpler. Wilson is moving from left guard back to center, the position he played at Georgia. That may sound like a small lineup adjustment. It isn't. Guards and centers experience the game differently. In the middle of the line, Wilson can make better use of his mobility, reach defenders at the second level, and block on the move instead of spending the entire afternoon absorbing power in matchups that don't fit his body or his best tools. Playing center also requires intelligence. Wilson will need to identify defensive fronts, help make adjustments before the snap, and make sure the protection matches Drake Maye's read. Solak identified that responsibility as the key to Wilson becoming an above-average starter by next year. That's a fair standard. Athletic talent opens the door. Mental command determines who gets to stay in the middle of that line. There's something deeply Patriots about this story. Nobody needs to pretend the low grade never happened or erase his performance in the biggest game. This is about how he responds. A rookie played outside his college position, endured a full season of adjustment, felt the weight of the biggest stage, and now has a chance to rebuild his reputation where his movement makes more sense. Development rarely follows a straight line. Sometimes the leap starts when a team stops asking a player to survive and finally lets him attack. I want to hear from the Foxborough community without turning this into another automatic poll. What would show you that Wilson has truly turned the page? The command before the snap, the strength to protect Maye, or his ability to create lanes in the running game? I'll be watching how he responds after mistakes. A center can't carry the previous play into the next snap. If Wilson develops that stability and turns his quickness into production in this new role, the Patriots may have found more than a functional starter. They may have found the anchor of a young, talented offensive line that can grow alongside its quarterback. That bad night will always be part of Wilson's story, but it doesn't have to define every chapter that comes next. Christian Elliss didn't arrive in Foxborough surrounded by expectations. He came through the narrow door, the one reserved for players who have to prove every single day that they deserve to stay. He went undrafted in 2021, had a short stint with the Vikings, moved between the Philadelphia and San Francisco practice squads, and was released by the Eagles in December 2023. 5 other teams tried to claim him when the Patriots picked him up on waivers. New England saw value before his story disappeared at the bottom of another roster. At first, Elliss played exclusively on special teams. Then, little by little, he built something rare in an impatient league: trust. The Patriots retained him in consecutive off-seasons, first as an exclusive rights free agent and then as a restricted free agent, while he turned effort into real defensive responsibility. Heading into 2026, he has already appeared in 39 games for New England and developed into a linebacker capable of starting without walking away from his special teams duties. The appeal comes from the contrast. Elliss stands just under 6 feet 2 and weighs 231 pounds. Modest size for the position, but he plays with speed, burst, and physicality. He runs from sideline to sideline, closes gaps against the run, and never shies away from contact. His processing has improved, along with his ability to anticipate offensive structures, pressure the quarterback, and react in zone coverage. He isn't without limitations. Sharp changes of direction can expose him in man coverage, especially against quicker targets. Bigger blockers can overpower him, and he doesn't always have the length or timing to disrupt the ball at the catch point. Those weaknesses explain why his role has to remain connected to what he does best. That responsibility falls on the coaching staff. Elliss doesn't need to become a perfect linebacker. He needs chances to attack downhill, diagnose the run, chase plays from the backside, and use his speed once he sees the action developing. In zone coverage with his eyes on the quarterback, his burst can close passing windows before they fully open. Only 12 players from the Patriots' 2023 roster are still around, and Elliss represents more than continuity. He proves there's still room in Foxborough for someone who earns every snap without the protection of status. An undrafted player who was cut and pushed to the margins found a real role because he refused to disappear. His name may never lead the biggest announcements, but strong teams need players like him, players who arrive without promises, endure the uncertainty, and eventually become too valuable to take off the field. These stories don't demand the same reaction, but they carry the same message. Talent grows when it finds the right place. Brown could rediscover with Maye the routes that once made him devastating. Kmet would provide smart protection for a vulnerable position. Wilson is returning to center where his game can breathe again, while Ellis keeps turning rejection into respect. That's how New England needs to build in 2026, not by collecting names, but by understanding how every player can elevate the whole team. Which development would raise your confidence in the Patriots the most? Brown's explosion, a Kmet trade, Wilson's leap, or Ellis solidifying his role? Subscribe to Patriots Club fans and keep living Foxborough with us.